Hello, this is Denise Walker, and I wanted to know, have you ever noticed how many people only go to counseling when the marriage is falling apart or there's so many broken systems in the family that that's when they seek counseling? But people never seek counseling when everything seems great. Because, of course, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Yet, people do not realize that there are a lot of things going on in your marriage and your relationship that people tend to sweep under the rug that really are broken. And then they come to seek counseling later on. Well, counselors for marriage and for a family is here on both levels before the problem starts, in the midst of the problem, and to solve it before it completely falls apart. And even when it falls apart, to help put the pieces back together so the next thing won't fall into the same hands, meaning a broken marriage or the family just not learning how to communicate. Now, what are some of the main reasons why marriages fall apart? Let's just be real. It has a lot to do with different forms of communication not being addressed. Infidelity is one, finances is another. Did you know that according to why our first marriages in the first year falling apart, that's the name of the book by Snidoff, states that within the first 2 months of a relationship, most people kind of know if they want to be with someone and if they're really not into the person, but yet some circumstances make them stay in the relationship. It could be finances or something the person is bringing to the table, but usually right off the bat, people pretty much know. Also, lack of romance and intimacy. Intimacy is not sex. It is just that communication that two people have that makes them want to have sex. So a lot of people lack that. And then also just a whole lack of respect. These are a lot of the reasons why most marriages do not make it within that first year. How does a relationship affect future relationships? Well, meaning if you had a bad relationship in the past, you tend to bring that into your new relationship because we feel that pain and don't want to go through it again. And that's why we need to learn how to close those doors before we go into a new relationship. And that comes with forgiveness, number one. And how to close those doors is literally shutting it off and moving on. There are a lot of triggers that happen with people in relationships that kind of make the relationship fall apart. That again has to do with fear of someone hurting them and then not wanting to go through the same things, or just having that memory of a past relationship and no one wants to walk down that same lane. When you start to see a person doing the same thing that someone else did, you tend to cut it off right at before it can even start. Now that could be a good thing, but sometimes we actually kind of force ourselves into that. In family counseling, the reason why I want this job and I chose this career is because you are taught the skills and you're also taught the mindsets of how to help these individuals. Now, the career I'm already in tends to do that already as being a sex therapist, but I wanted to expand it from just not the physical part, but also the relationships that come to it. And in addition to that, people need to understand that there is so much mental health issues within the family that brings individual issues, which brings that into a marriage, that it causes all of these discords. A lot of times people have schizophrenia, bipolar, or even OCD, ADHD, these things. And when you're with a mate who does not know that you even possess these things, or you may not even know, they wonder why everything is all over the place. And that's because a lot of people aren't seeking individual help to find out what's wrong with them. And then they can be getting their own individual counseling and also medication. So I want to kind of use a quick example of what I mean when it comes to certain relationships and how they fail within that first year. So I want to use this example of these two water bottles, okay? One is a little fuller than the other, but yes, pretty much they're equally yoked into the fact that they got some substance to them. But what happens in a lot of relationships is that you end up being with a person who's just like this bottle cap. They're really small minded. They don't have a whole lot to hold on to. And so they want someone to pour into them. But once they start to do that, it overflows. And there's only so much that this individual can take. Yet, you need to find someone who has somewhat or not just as amount as that you have. So when they need something, you're able to pour into them, and vice versa. Sometimes you may pour more into them than they pour into yourselves, but usually when you're with someone who has the financial mindset that you have, who wants to love the same way and have a lot of the same common interests, this type of thing tends to bring you closer together. This individual will always need way more, and it becomes exhausting. So I just want everyone to kind of understand that, in marriage counseling, this is the things that has come with that, is learning those skill sets to give to individuals. And in closing, I just wanted you guys to know that marriage and family counseling has an overall responsibility to help those individuals to seek help. In being a family counselor, you need to learn how to speak well, clearly, listen, have all those skill sets to help the person go to the next level. Also, being in control and being dependable and have ethics is very important. Marriage counseling is also not as easy for many people because they don't know how to communicate, and that's where the family therapist comes in. You have to understand again that there are a lot of things that come in that, with pain, past relationships, mental health. But once you are with the perfect fit as a family counselor, they will help you get to that next level. Family therapy and marriage therapy for an individual will help you become vulnerable through the process, but it also will help you get to the next level. So let's all grow together. Thank you.